Hello, in this video I'm going to tell you how to stop panic attacks and anxiety when driving. I'm going to go driving in some situations that will cause people to have these things, and I'm going to explain why you get them, what doesn't work to get rid of them, and what does work. So I'm going to turn the car on, I'm going to get driving. So I'm going to go over it from the beginning because I know I've been over some of these things before. Not everybody watches all of my videos. So why do you get panic attacks and anxiety when you're driving? Well, what's happening is simply when you encounter a situation that you see as dangerous, your mind is firing off old events from your past. Now when you first hear this can be like, what are you on about? What do you mean? Like, you have to understand, as I say in all my videos, if you've watched them before, let's say it together. 3, 2, 1. Driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. And this is what many people just don't understand. They just think, what are you talking about? When I'm driving, I get anxious, I have panic attacks. And it all started when I was driving at speed one day, and I don't know where it came from. The reason you don't know where it came from is because it comes from something in your past. Normally something that happened before the age of 10. And people say, well, what's all this about? Well, let me explain. I'm getting to a section of road in a moment, which is one that will cause some people to have anxiety. Because if you look ahead, you'll see it's a lovely area. This is Earlswood Lakes, and there are 2 lakes, or is it the same lake? I don't know, separated by a road, but you'll see that there is no escape. There is nowhere to go to, and people here who have panic attacks would be slowing down. I'm slowing down for that woman, but they'd be slowing down, screaming, their hands will be sweating, they'll be shaking. I've got nowhere to go, there's no escape, there's nowhere to go, there's water, there's a drop, what do I do, And people are braking and braking and braking and braking, and they're crawling, and even at 10 miles an hour they're screaming. I think a lot of people who watch my videos don't understand. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about anxiety. Because sometimes people think that I'm just talking about people who get a bit nervous, just waiting for this car to come through. But it's not just about getting a bit nervous, it's about people who have complete meltdowns. So people are panicking, shaking, and they can't understand where it's come from. It's an old memory. So that's what it is. Now let's look at what doesn't work to get rid of it, because people will often say, well, I've done CBT and I've been to counselling and I've done exposure therapy. None of those things will work. Why? Because, I'll tell you when I get out of here, because those things are focusing on driving. If you go for CBT, they will just bombard you with logical statistics. And I bet you people who've done CBT, let me know in the comments if you had this, they'll just tell you, oh, did you know that every year motorways have been proven statistically to be the safest roads? Fast roads are the safest. Yeah, I know that. Doesn't change anything. Well, did you know that driving is safer than flying? Yeah, I know that. It doesn't change anything. Because they're making the classic mistake of working directly on the problem, which isn't the problem. Okay, driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. So you are wasting your time doing CBT where they talk about driving. I know, because if you don't know, as well as being a professional hypnotherapist, I've also been a driving instructor for over 20 years here in England. Now I can tell you that driving lessons for anxiety will do nothing. Why? Because, as you may have guessed by now, driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. You explain to me how if you're on a driving lesson now and the instructor, remember I am an instructor so I know what I'm talking about, the instructor saying things like, check your mirrors, signal, now brake, come down to second, feet off the pedals, back on the gas. Now it's safe. Do you feel safe? Yeah. How do you feel? It's safe. You're safe. Look, there's no one ahead. There's no one behind. Sorry, no one ahead. No one behind. And it's not going to do anything because it's not about driving. It's pointless to talk about driving. And the instructors are scratching their heads thinking, why is it not working? There's no one around and they're still panicking because driving instructors are completely out of their depth dealing with anxiety because they don't understand that it's nothing to do with driving. That's how I got into it. I spent years as a driving instructor and way over 20 years. I always say 20 years, it's way over 20 as an instructor there. And I was frustrated when I couldn't help learners with anxiety because I just thought, well, surely it's just about getting on with it. And I used to say to people, just get on with it, just stop being a wimp, go on, just push through. And it's embarrassing to look back and think, I used to be one of those instructors who just used to do driving anxiety courses and it didn't work. So I went off and trained in hypnosis, which is how you fix it. And if you're thinking, oh, hypnosis, isn't that evil? That's the work of the devil, that's dark magic and voodoo. No. That's just nonsense from Hollywood to make films. I won't go into the background of hypnosis, that's for another video, but it's just focus. The way you get rid of panic attacks and anxiety when driving is you use hypnosis to access parts of your mind that you are normally unaware of. So it's a bit like, it's quite weird, and when you do it, it's nothing to be scared of, but people are understandably scared of the unknown. They go, oh, hypnosis, oh, I'm not sure about this. Is it gonna hurt? Is someone gonna take over my mind? No. All it does is it allows you to access things that you wouldn't normally be able to access. So whereas the CBT practitioners, the driving instructors, the counsellors are all wasting their time with these logical thoughts. I'm going to go this way actually. I'm just going for a bit of a drive. I want to see some places I haven't been for a while. While they're wasting your time with all these logical thoughts of, have you done this and have you tried putting your hands on the wheel, and take some deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel the magic of the whales as you listen to whale music. Not going to do anything, right? None of that stuff will do anything because they're either thinking logically about the driving or they are trying but not succeeding to access the subconscious because they think it's all about relaxing. And I say this a lot, if anyone tells you to relax in hypnosis, they don't know what they're doing. It's some of my very early hypnosis tracks which you can use to overcome this problem. I do say that, but that's because I was quite new at the time. And in a way, it's sort of about relaxing, but it's not. When you really know what you're doing, you think, it's not about relaxing. So the point of all this is, many people struggle to fix their driving issues because they're working on the wrong thing in the wrong way. They're focusing on the driving, which isn't, there's our learner again, nothing to do with it. And even when they attempt to do things like hypnosis, they do it wrongly by saying things like relax, lie down. You're walking down a staircase and you feel so calm. And then they read you scripts, they read you these pointless stories. You are in a car, and this is one I've got in a book, and you have both hands on the wheel, and the driving examiner looks at you and says, wow, you can drive. And the magical ponies and unicorns whisper in your ear, you can drive. That is not hypnosis. That is people who don't know what they're doing, just calling themselves hypnotists because they don't know what they're doing. True hypnosis, which allows you to access your subconscious mind where the problem lies, is totally different. And I'll give you an example now. I want you to think about someone you love. And if you don't love anyone, well, that won't work for you. I want you to explain why you love them. Now, yes, you can say, oh, well, yeah, they're attractive, whatever. The physical stuff, yeah, well, we've got the same hobbies, yeah. But why do you really love them? What is that feeling you get when you're with them? Explain it. You can't explain it. How come you love that person, but there's another person who works with them, maybe next to them, and they look the same, they sound the same, their age is about the same, their interests are the same? Why don't you love them? You can't explain it, can you? Like, I can't explain this wire falling down. Put that back up there. It's unexplainable because it's a subconscious, unconscious thing. And we all have these. We all do things like breathe without knowing about it. You don't sit here thinking breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. There are lots of things we do subconsciously. So if you want to overcome your fear of driving and panic attacks and anxiety, I don't want to say the only way, but in my opinion, the only way I think you can do it is to use hypnosis. The car's beeping, so I'm speeding. I'm not. It's saying it's 30, it's 50. If you can hear that beeping sound. So, this car behind's certainly going a bit faster. Anyway, so I'm going to go on the motorway now, and this is the kind of place where people get anxious. So knowing what you know now about why it happens, let me kind of simulate someone having a panic attack, and I'll show you what's actually going on. So as you're coming up to the motorway, the person will just be thinking, oh no, it's a motorway. But that's because they've had a panic attack previously on the motorway. The first time you experience this, as you'll know, it's quite strange. People say, I've been driving for years and I don't know why I had this problem. Because it's not to do with driving, that's why. The fact you've been driving years is irrelevant, because this problem is something firing up from your past. Why? We don't care, it doesn't matter. If you waste your time in the why, that's why people spend years in therapy. People say, how come you say you can fix this so fast? It's not because the method I use is so fast, it's because I do the right thing and I don't waste my time with things that don't work. So, we're going to go on the motorway here, and imagine I'm someone who's never had a panic attack before, and I'm driving along, but I'm not thinking anything other than, where am I going? What's the best way to go? What's the traffic going to be like? And this is what it's like for people. Please let me know your stories in the comments. Let me know how it began for you when you had your first ever panic attack. Is it anything like what I'm about to demonstrate now? So people are going along like this, and they're going to go on the motorway, the highway, it's known as in different countries, freeway or whatever, and they're driving along and you're thinking absolutely nothing, and then suddenly people having all that, what's going on, and they just can't brake now, but they'll be braking, slowing down, and they're sweating and they're like this, and hands are shaking, and that's what it's like. I've seen people, because I've been with them in the car. That's what makes me different to other therapists, is a lot of therapists think it's funny when people have driving anxiety, because they say, and clients have said to me, my therapist said, just get on with it, what's your problem? Now, whereas I could overtake this lorry, I'm not going to bother because I'm not going too far, somebody who's having a panic attack would never be able to overtake that lorry. So they'd be going like this, thinking, oh, I can't go around them. I will go around actually, because it's far enough to make it worthwhile, and it proves I haven't got driving anxiety. So I'm doing about 67 now, 68 to go around this truck. I don't care. So what? I've got nowhere to escape. I'm not panicking. Why? Because I haven't linked something from my past to driving in the same way that someone with anxiety would have. So you see, at the moment, I just feel calm. I'm going to use that word, relaxed. I do feel relaxed. For me, nothing makes me feel better than driving a car. It's just peaceful, relaxing, calm. It's great. It's a way of escaping the real world in a way. And that's probably how you used to be, right? But now you find it makes you feel panicked and horrible. Well, that's simply because you've linked something from your past to driving. So when you drive, you're reliving an old event. And this is why hypnosis is the most powerful thing, in my opinion, to get over this problem. Because you see, when you use hypnosis, you're able to access your subconscious mind where all of these things live, and you can pull them out. That's how you get rid of it. People say, what do I do with these things? You don't necessarily have to do anything with them. That's the whole point. When you find them, they will often release themselves, because that's what happens. You go back in your mind, and just watch what's going on here. Yeah, there's a few people coming off. You go back in your mind and you find the things that are making you panic, the old events, and you release them. And then the thing is that when you've released them, they no longer cause an issue. So what's an example of these things? Well, a very common one is it's all to do with childhood. Now, not always, but very often, it does come back to the way people experience their childhood. If you had a childhood full of fear because your parents were aggressive or abusive or whatever, then that's the feeling you're experiencing when you drive, which is why it's so weird. People say, well, how come I've never been nervous driving before and now I'm terrified? Because when you're driving, you're triggering off those old thoughts of being a kid. So you're now back to being a 5-year-old kid, and you're panicking about things that happened years ago. So I'm just going to get into this lane because I'm going to come off a little bit further on. So yeah, that's what it's all about. You're panicking and you feel the need to have to drive in this lane because you've got safety on the left there, or on the right if you're in America. People say, I need somewhere to pull over. When you need somewhere to pull over, what you actually need is somewhere to escape. But it isn't the driving you're escaping, it's the old stuff that happened when you were a kid. And this is why driving instructors will get baffled by people who have driving anxiety, and they'll say, I just can't understand this, because their driving's fine, they can do it, they've got no problems, so why is it they get so scared? Because you're not scared of the driving, you're scared of something else. And when I was just a driving instructor and nothing else, it baffled me. And when you learn about this stuff, when you've worked with hundreds of people all over the world, as I have, you think, oh yeah, so they feel trapped. But it's not trapped because they're driving, because of the cars and lorries around me. They're trapped because they felt trapped as a child. Now, it isn't always that simple. I'm making it so much easier than it actually is. But it can be a specific thing that happened when you were a child, where you felt trapped. Not just physically, maybe you were locked in a cupboard. I've had people locked in cupboards. But if you felt trapped because you could never express your feelings to your parents, because especially with anyone over the age of about 40, it wasn't like it is now back in the day. A lot of us can remember when we were kids, we were told things like, boys don't cry, men don't cry, crying's for girls, crying's for sissies. It's funny now to say that, they'd never get people teaching that out in schools, but I was brought up to think it's wrong to cry, it's a shame to cry, you're not a man if you cry, which is of course rubbish. Now that person driving there is a bit rubbish, cutting everyone up. But yeah, that's what it is. You feel trapped, and there isn't always a direct link like that. Just because you were trapped as a child doesn't mean you're trapped. It doesn't all work like this. But please bear with me. I'm driving and explaining this to you all at the same time. It's not as easy as when I'm just sitting still and talking about it in my house. But that's why you have panic attacks. And I would like to say to people who sometimes get annoyed with my videos and say, why don't you just tell us how to get rid of it? Stop promoting yourself. Right, I've told you in this video everything you need to know to get rid of it. And I also have over 700 videos on my YouTube channel for free, which cover everything from learning to drive. You can watch me teach someone to drive from start to finish. You can do hypnosis, and many people have fixed their problem. My one video has had over 70,000 views, just one of them. Loads of people saying, wow, this changed my life, you've helped me, you fixed my problem. There you go, it's all for free. If you don't want to pay anything, you don't have to. And I do find it amusing when people get annoyed that I'm not telling them how to fix it, when I've just spent a whole video telling them how to fix it. A lot of people want some gimmicky solution like close your hand, now open it, now wave it in a circle 3 times, click your fingers twice, oh, my anxiety's gone. That isn't how you do it. The way you fix the fear of driving is to use hypnosis to go into your past and find out what the problem really is. If you want to work with me one-to-one online from anywhere in the world, contact me through my website, firstdrive.com. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.